Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the best way to prepare for a social media marketing agency meeting and what to do, what not to do, and kind of to combat a few of the misconceptions of what most people do in the lead up to a meeting and kind of throughout the meeting process, which completely destroys their chances of signing a social media marketing agency client. So guys, the meeting process, this is really where most people go wrong. Loads of people can book meetings, but it's very easy to book a meeting, but it's quite difficult to get those potential clients to turn up consistently to your meetings, listen to what you have to say, trust what you're saying is correct, and then agreeing to work with you, and then the after process of getting the contract signed and getting the invoice paid. It is a very difficult process, and it's a process that needs to be learned, it needs to be practiced, and all it takes is one tiny little mistake in that process and you destroy all your chances of signing that social media marketing agency client. And you need to treat every meeting as if it's a $2,000 a month client waiting for you, because it really is. You need to treat every single meeting as if your life depends on it. You need to treat every meeting with the same amount of respect as a referral meeting or whatever it is. In this video, I want to talk you through the process and what to really do beforehand in order to position yourself in the best possible position to sign that potential client. So the meeting process, I always say in the academy, it always starts from day one of when you come in contact with that potential client. You have to, no matter where you're doing your outreach, whether that be email outreach, LinkedIn outreach, Instagram DMs, or cold calling, cold calling through a practice number or the business number, you have to get hold of the decision maker's phone number. First of all, you have to get hold of the decision maker. There's no point booking a meeting with a receptionist or an employee of a business or even a manager unless they have decision-making power. So that's step one. You need to get hold of the decision maker and make sure the decision maker is going to be on the call. You also need to make sure you get the phone number of that decision maker, because in the lead up to that meeting, you need to be sending them reminder emails and you need to be sending them reminder text messages. And why is that so important? Because if you don't do that, that client is 100% going to forget that you have a meeting. They're going to forget the importance of why they want a meeting. They're going to forget what the meeting's all about. And this happens all the time, guys. When you don't get the phone number and you don't get the personal email address of the decision maker that you're wanting to sell to, it all goes pear-shaped, because the meeting comes around 4 or 5 days later, or even worse, like 2 weeks later, and they get it there. They see your Zoom link in their calendar, and you think, oh, I can't be asked for this. I can't be asked to be sold to. Whereas if you've had their phone number and if you've got your email address, you can send them some really nice messages and really nice emails in the lead up to it to not only remind them, that they've got the call so they don't forget about it and make sure they've got the link, but also some more information to get them excited. This is what we're going to cover on the call. This is, the importance of taking this call. This is the credibility that we hold and what we're going to cover and the value you're going to gain just by showing up, and we're not just going to pitch to you. So setting those expectations, but most importantly, getting the phone number and email address of that decision maker is so important. Secondly, before you get on that first presentation, you need to understand whether there are any other decision makers involved. For example, if you have booked a call with one decision maker, but he's only 33% of the pulling power in making that decision, he might need the other shareholders' input on the decision before he makes the decision. You want to try and get him on the call as well. And we always say that. We say, right, we literally ask the client, can you make this decision? Is going ahead with marketing with a marketing agency, or what you do with your marketing budget, completely your call? If it's a no, then we ask, well, whose call is it, or who has shares in the decision making? And they'll say, oh, John does. Well, John needs to be on that call, and you need to get all of those people on the call. If you can't get them on the call, and a lot of the times you're not going to be able to, then you're going to have to do the call anyway. But it's important to have that mental note that you're probably going to have to set up another call when John's free, so you can pitch to him as well, because otherwise they're just going to relay the information you've told them to John, not in the same way, not with the same excitement or passion, and he's not going to get the same feeling that the initial person did. That's important to get them to show up, and also position the meeting in the correct place to even be able to give you a yes or a no, which is super important. So once that's done, now it's over to you to prepare. The people that fail in presentations, in sales, in any business, that is, whether you're doing a presentation on fucking cats and dogs or social media marketing, those who are prepared come out on top. So you need to be prepared, and you can do things like an audit on their business, look at their social pages, look at their website, give them feedback on the existing ads they're running. You need to, going into that meeting, have a very clear overview of what that business does, what it offers, how it's structured, what their price points are. You know, do they have good reviews? Do they have a good converting website? Because all of that's going to play a factor into what your service offering is going to be at the end of that meeting. Because if they don't have a good website, then the importance of having a landing page is going to be a lot higher than if they had an amazing website they've just spent 20 grand on. So this is all information that you can find out before the meeting to show that client you're prepared, you've done your research, and they're not just another person you're wanting to pitch to. And bring improvements to them. If they've got a bad website, don't just come on there and say, you need to pay 10 grand for a website. Just say, right, you know, you don't have the best website in the world, which isn't going to help your marketing or your online presence. Here's a few pointers that you can go away after this meeting and fix. Or, you know, you've got 10,000 followers on social media, but your content's not very good. Here's some feedback of some, you know, really nice tips and tricks you can change in your content without our help. That way they feel like they've gone away from that meeting and they've actually gained something from it, not just a pitch. You also want to try and figure out how big this company is. That's quite easy to do if you go on LinkedIn and you can search the business name and look at how many employees are registered upon it. You also want to try and estimate the type of revenue that they're bringing in, because that's going to dictate to you what their marketing spend is going to be. And then finally, in the preparation to the meeting, you need to build almost a question list. And you don't want to make it feel like you're interviewing them, but just have a list of questions that you need to ask them at the beginning of the call in order to get a well-rounded view of what that business offers. So that's going to be questions that are just filling in the blanks which you couldn't find out through your research prior. So that could be what their revenue is, what their marketing budget is, what marketing they've done previously if you couldn't figure that out beforehand. So it's just a list of questions from your research to fill in the gaps in your knowledge at the beginning of the meeting, and it just gives you some ideas for conversation starters in that discovery portion of the meeting. And then finally, guys, you need to have your presentation built. You need to have a thorough presentation that you're going to take that particular client through. And that isn't a keynote speech. That isn't you getting on a Zoom call and talking for 25 minutes without them talking. A presentation is merely a guide to a conversation. That, 6 or 7 slides that just help you navigate a conversation. That's all it is. It's a sat nav for a conversation with a particular person. So you're going to take them through and you're just going to guide that conversation in a particular way that's going to make it easier for you to close them at the end. And in that presentation, that's where you don't need to do as much research prior. This is where you're explaining to them the services that you offer, which is going to solve the issues that you found in that discovery session, if that makes sense. So in that presentation where you're discussing your services, you're going to run them through potentially how Facebook ads work, how your strategy is different, how your landing pages are going to work, how your email marketing is going to work, and just how your overall strategy works. Because what I say to all of the Academy members and all the time on this channel is the only reason they're not going to be able to sign with you, or they're not going to want to sign with you, is because 1, they don't trust you, or 2, they don't trust or they don't understand how your strategy that you've just explained to them is actually going to get them results. If they 100% understand how by doing that, and that, you get this result, they're always going to sign with you, because you can't argue with 2 + 2 = 4, which is so simple. So you need to practically give away your whole strategy in that portion of the meeting, so they just completely get their head around, right, I understand what Harry's doing here. That is high tech stuff. I couldn't do that without him. So therefore I need to pay him because I understand how his strategy works and how that strategy is going to make me more money. And that's pretty much everything, guys, of how to prepare for a meeting, from the very first contact you have with getting a decision maker on the call, all the way to the discovery session and how you build those discovery questions that you need to ask by filling in the gaps in your knowledge, and then also being prepared enough to have that presentation there to completely give away your strategy to that client so they completely understand how you're going to get them results. And that's all you need to know. Inside the Academy, we give away all of our presentations. So we have 2 different styles of presentations depending on the client. We have a more headline one and a more in-depth one. depending on the style of you, if you're a more technical person, or if you're pitching to a more technical person, and you can find that out prior via DMs and cold calls. You usually get an inkling of what that person's going to be like. But yeah, it's literally copy and paste, so it's super useful if you guys are in there. But hope you enjoyed that video, guys. We're back posting every single day. I hope you like this new style of videos that we're rolling out. And yeah, please subscribe, because we're back posting every single day. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. for tomorrow's video.